All right, let's set the scene. It's the Ides of March in Rome, and Julius Caesar is making his grand entrance at the Capitol. The place is buzzing. Senators, citizens, and, hiding in plain sight, a group of conspirators. This day is about to go down in history, and not in a good way.
So as Caesar heads up the steps, he spots this soothsayer, the very same guy who warned him to beware this exact day. Feeling pretty good about himself, Caesar can't resist a little jab. He basically says, well, the Ides of March are here, and I'm still standing.
But the soothsayer's comeback is just chilling. I, but not gone. Wow. In just those 4 words, the whole mood shifts. The warning isn't over. The day is still young. And this is Caesar's first big chance to maybe, just maybe, turn around and go home. Now here's where it gets wild. It's like the universe is practically screaming at Caesar, giving him 2 final, crystal-clear chances to save his own skin. But his pride, his sheer arrogance, well, it's about to be his downfall. Okay, so right after that creepy exchange, a teacher named Artemidorus literally fights his way through the crowd. He shoves a letter into Caesar's hand, begging him, read this one first, it's about you. And guess what? This letter has everything, the entire plot, every single name. But Caesar, playing the part of the great public servant, just dismisses it. He basically says, personal stuff can wait, and hands it off. He is literally holding his own salvation and just pushes it aside.
Meanwhile, while Caesar's feeling untouchable, the conspirators are absolutely sweating bullets. As they walk in, a senator comes up to Cassius and casually says, "Hey, hope your little enterprise today works out." Cassius just freezes. He thinks they've been discovered. For one terrifying second, they believe the whole thing is about to blow up in their faces.
Brutus, though, he's the cool head. He manages to calm Cassius down, and they realize they can't afford to wait another second. They've got to do it, and they've got to do it now. They decide to move forward with their plan, using a simple political petition as the perfect cover to get right up next to him.
And this part is just tactically brilliant. First, they get Caesar's #1 ally and protector, Mark Antony, out of the room. Smart. Then Metellus Cimber creates the distraction by kneeling and begging for his brother. As he does, the other conspirators, including Brutus, all move in to support him, kneeling one by one until Caesar is completely boxed in. He's trapped in plain sight and has absolutely no idea.
And this moment perfectly captures Caesar's fatal flaw. As they all kneel before him, he launches into this huge speech about how unshakable he is. He compares himself to the North Star, fixed, permanent, better than everyone else. It's an incredible display of ego, delivered literally seconds before he's about to be proven very, very wrong.
Caesar's big speech is about to be cut short. The time for petitions, for warnings, for words, it's all over. It's happening.
Casca gives the signal. He pulls out his dagger and yells this line, a horrifying way of saying, the talking is done. He strikes the first blow.
And then it's just a frenzy. They all descend on him like a pack of wolves, each one getting in a stab. As Caesar is stumbling, bleeding, he looks up and sees one person he never expected to see among them, his dear friend, Marcus Brutus.
In this moment of pure agony, as Brutus delivers the final, most devastating blow, Caesar doesn't scream a curse. He just looks at him, totally bewildered, and asks a question that's filled with nothing but shock and heartbreak. You too, Brutus?
Now here's the key. It wasn't the 20-something stab wounds that brought him down. It was the betrayal. The second he sees that Brutus, his Brutus, is one of them, he just gives up. He covers his face with his toga and lets himself fall.
So, the most powerful man in the world is dead on the floor of the Senate. What happens next? Absolute pandemonium. Senators are screaming and running for the exits. But the conspirators? They're not running. They're moving on to phase 2, spinning the story. They immediately start shouting these slogans at the top of their lungs. They are framing this bloody act not as a murder, but as a noble moment of liberation for the Roman people. See? This isn't an assassination. It's the death of a tyrant.
Then Brutus suggests something that is just mind-blowing. He tells them all to get down on their knees and literally bathe their hands and swords in Caesar's blood. They aren't trying to hide what they did. They are owning it. They're going to walk into the public square covered in blood to show everyone that they are the ones who did this deed.
But just as they're congratulating themselves, a wild card enters the game. Mark Antony, who had run away in terror, comes back.
And Antony plays this scene like a master. He weeps over Caesar's body, then bravely offers his own life to the conspirators. Brutus says no, he's safe.
So Antony shakes each of their bloody hands one by one. And then he makes what sounds like a simple, humble request. Can he please speak at his friend's funeral?
And boom. This one request creates the first major crack in their plan. Brutus, the eternal optimist, thinks it's a fantastic idea. It'll show how fair and noble they are. But Cassius, the realist, is horrified. He pulls Brutus aside and basically says, "Are you insane? You have no idea what this man can do with a crowd. He will turn them against us in a heartbeat."
But Brutus is the leader, and he overrules Cassius. He gives Antony permission, but with a bunch of rules attached. Antony can't blame them. He has to say he's speaking with their permission, and he has to go second, after Brutus has already won the crowd over. Brutus is certain he's got the situation completely under control.
So the conspirators head out, feeling pretty good about things, and they leave Mark Antony all alone with Caesar's body. And it's in this moment, when no one is watching, that we see what Antony is really planning. The second they're gone, the polite mask just shatters. He turns to Caesar's body and begs for forgiveness for being so nice to his murderers. That gentle, grieving friend, it was all an act. Now we see the pure rage.
And then comes the terrifying promise. He prophesies that this isn't the beginning of peace, it's the beginning of a brutal civil war that will tear Italy apart. He says blood and destruction will become so normal that people won't even flinch. Caesar's ghost, he says, is coming back for revenge, and it's going to unleash hell.
Which leaves us with this huge question. The conspirators killed one man because they were afraid he'd start a civil war. But by giving Antony a stage and a microphone, did Brutus, in a moment of well-meaning naivete, just hand his greatest enemy the very weapon he needed to let loose the dogs of war and burn their entire cause to the ground?